going to be replacing my Gladiator stock bumper with a Fab Fours Stubby bumper. The bumper just got delivered the other day, and overall, so far I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. It's really solid and sturdy, but there are a few imperfections in the paint. You can see right there, and also right over there. Not too bad. Maybe I'll touch them up once I get the bumper on the Jeep. Here's the list of tools and sockets it says that you need in order to remove the stock bumper and put on the Fab Fours Stubby. I had to pick up one of the plastic body panel pry tools, but everything else is pretty standard. I'm hoping that the factory fog lights mount up to this bumper like they said they will, because I saw a couple reviews saying that they were having trouble mounting the stock fog lights, so we'll have to see how that goes. First you have to remove this plastic brush guard, and there's 8 of these body plastic clip pins along here, and there's one also here, and then there's 2 8mm bolts, one on each side, and then this will come right off. 8 of those plastic clips and 2 of those 8mm bolts, and the plastic brush guard is off. Next I want to remove this cross member here. It has 2 16mm bolts on it. And with those 2 bolts off, the cross member pops right off. Next you want to remove these pieces that cover the back of the fog lights and connect the fender to the bumper. There's 7 7mm bolts holding it on. I actually removed them all already. This one here, right here, is a little bit different, so just if you ever want to put it back on, just pay attention to that. So with them removed, they should just come right on off. And then there you can see the fog light now. Now that that one's removed, you just want to repeat on the other side. 7 more bolts, 7mm. Just have to remove these 2 plastic clips here up top. Even with the tool, they're still kind of difficult to get out. On the passenger side here, you have to disconnect the fog lights from right here. Last step to getting this bumper off is there's 4 nuts on each side holding the bumper on, and they're 18mm nuts. And then once those are loose, the ones right there and up there on both sides of the frame. Once all 8 of those are off, the bumper will come off. Alright, so here, right after removing those 8 bolts, I pulled the bumper right off. It's not very heavy. It has this crash bar inside that I had to pull out. This crash bar was held to the plastic bumper by 2, right there, 13mm bolts. And then once I got that off, I was able to unclip all the fog lights. There's a bunch of clips in here. And then the fog lights were just held on by a couple of hex screws. I think they were like 30 seconds or something. I'm not really sure. I just kept picking until I found one that fit and took those out. One right here, one there, and then one right there. So the fog lights are free and ready to be mounted in the new bumper. And I'm gonna attach this crash bar back to the plastic bumper with the 2 13mm bolts, and then with the, I think it was the 18s as well, to just keep everything organized. So I lied, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 13mm bolts holding this crash bar to the plastic bumper, and then I just put those other 18mm bolts back on, just to keep everything organized. Because the factory fog lights are nothing like what Fab Fours designed the bumper for, even though they say that the stock plastic bumper fog lights will fit in the bumper, they don't. So because of that, there's no way to line them up. I saw other people reporting the same thing. So what I'm gonna do is just line up this circle here with the hole, and then I'm gonna drill out 2 holes right there. And then over here, for now, I'm just not gonna worry about it and hope that the 2 holes here will be enough to attach it. And they include some hardware, which I'll use in those 2 holes. So I'm just gonna drill a couple holes a little bit bigger than that and see how that works. So I marked the holes and measured a few times, and that's about where they fall. So I'm just gonna take a drill bit that was slightly larger than the screw and try and put some holes in there and see how that goes. I got those holes drilled and those bolts in, which took forever, drilling the holes and then trying to tighten the bolt from both sides, but they're in and it looks alright. And then I zip tied up the wiring for the fog lights. So now I guess it's just time to mount the bumper to the frame with the supplied nuts here, because you see the bolts are part of the bumper and the nuts are right there. So now we're going to mount the bumper using these bolts to the frame, using the supplied nuts, washers, and locking nuts. I guess we're switching to 11/16 for these nuts. And this is what it looks like when it's all mounted. I think it looks pretty good. I just wish the fog lights would have been a little bit easier to mount. They're in there pretty solid, so I'm not too worried about them, but it would have been better if the mount was made for those specific fog lights. Thanks for watching.